There's just so many things at play. Like what we said about, different language, different characters, and different cultures, different behaviors, different genders. And I do think as long as you live in a different environment and you're speaking a different language, you're going to have a methodology where allows you to survive well in a particular place.
Yeah.
And that may have some implications on how you will, conduct yourself in other cultures. And I guess not necessarily personality change.
Yeah.
More on the front that how well that you can use a tool ultimately dictates how well you're able to, express yourself.
Also, like why we have like English names. So when being called our own English name, it's almost our separate identity.
Yeah.
I just register indifferently. When I go back to China, like my old friends, my family still call me Chinese names. And then I just felt really differently.
Yeah.
Like they both me. But for some reason, I felt alienated towards each other. Like I'm not saying I'm schizophrenic or multiple identity disorder or something like that.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but still, but again, like I think it's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
And we cannot talk about language outside the context of culture.
Oh, for sure.
At least for people who are fluent in certain languages. When you're learning a new language, you're also learning a new culture, because sometimes it's not only about how to pronounce certain words, how grammar works. And for example, when I was learning German, I realized that there are a lot of nouns in German super long, and they're combined, basically they are different words combined together in a way that you can understand why they do it from a German's culture point of view. They want to be very accurately describe every single thing.
Yeah.
So they are very accurate language. And they're also very logical in terms of how they construct the grammar terms. So you can read a nation's characteristics from the language itself. So that's why I think learning language is a beautiful thing, because it's not only about language, it's not only about pronunciations, it's about understanding history and the culture and grabbing, almost like adopting new perspectives to see the world. And that is eye-opening experience.
Yeah, I think I take a more of an approach as something, language is something that is much more reflexive, sort of coexist and co-influence with the culture. So the culture itself, of course, influences, like as you said about Germans, precise, but that also is translated into the language, and the subsequent language that you have to learn to be able to communicate with Germany effectively also sort of feeds back into the culture. So it's like almost a cyclical loop, the feedback loop, the flying wheel that constantly reinforces its identity through the language and through the culture back to the language. When you conduct the thought process in a particular language, you're always trying to think, does this make sense? If you speak two languages, let's say Chinese and English, when trying to think a particular thing that makes sense in English and try to frame that in Chinese, in there within the nitty-gritty of it, you start to discover the very fundamental difference about how people think. That's a topic for another day, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.